Okay, welcome. I'm excited that we're talking about marketing. So this is the marketing blueprint course, and we will be speaking about the basics of marketing. One of the reasons that I love marketing is that you have to be able to know the customer well enough to create a product that can sell itself, where you have come to get them to understand that their pain point, the solution to their pain point is in that product without really forcing their hand because they could see how it could bring them the desired outcome. So marketing and sales are very different, and we're going to talk about that difference today. All right, I'm excited. I just hope that this microphone is behaving itself. Um, okay, so let's get started. This is lesson one, and a huge part of what we're going to talk about today is just really making sure that we get you really understanding how you could properly market what your message is, and you can really sell it to the person that you know you've been called to serve. And part of really selling the knowledge that you've been blessed with is helping people and serving people, right? So the first thing is we want to make sure that the people that need to be served don't miss out of our service because of poor marketing, right? Okay, so let's get started. Lesson one, we are just going to understand what marketing is. So I'm going to be defining it, and then you get to understand much more the difference between marketing and sales. Okay, so Peter Drucker says the aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well that the product or the service fits them and sells itself, right? Sometimes marketing is confused with a simple act of selling. It's confused with increasing sales, right? But marketing is actually the channel that you take to grab the customer's attention and to bring them to make a purchase. A team often manages marketing, and many times that's if you're working within a company, it's great to have a team because there's so many moving parts to marketing that one person cannot. I mean, one person can do it, but it can be a lot. However, I will teach you like some of the easier ways to market as a one person business owner before you start to expand and get a team, right? Okay. So, let's talk about the relationship between brand recognition, your customer, and your marketing tactics. We'll talk about what a market is. So, a market, we can loosely define it as a medium where customers and sellers with shared interests and desires conduct business, right? For example, there is a transportation consumer market, there is a tech consumer market, there is a fashion consumer market. A market has a broad definition, and it is necessary for marketers to find the customers in the market who will purchase your service or your product. Now, the process of identifying potential customers is finding your target market. And target markets generally consist of individuals who may or may not interact with each other. And what you'll find is even though they don't interact with each other, they do share many common characteristics, many lived experiences, values, interests, buying habits, right? Now, identifying similar traits is not all there is to a market. It also requires potential customers who have the interest and income to make the purchase. I was recently, recently, just 3 days ago, I was talking to one of my potential clients, and we were just really going back and forth, sharing experiences between each other, just as we were getting into the things that we do today, right? And one of the things that we talked about was how people try to put a discrepancy between purpose and profit, between service and profit. And it's like, oh, if you know that this is something that you're doing to bring impact to another person, why is money important? Why is it at the forefront? And so I explained something to her. I said, money should never ever be at the forefront. However, it is a byproduct of the service that you create, because so much goes into creating what you put together, right? So much goes into creating what you put together. And to be able to sustain the quality and the value of that service, it's important to get paid for it. There is nothing wrong with getting paid for the work that you do. Even if you call it walking in purpose, you're serving people, you're causing impact to be made, you're bringing change, you're encouraging them, you're changing their lives, you're changing their mindsets, you're bringing them outcomes and results they've always dreamed about, right? So that's important. So we were talking about that money shouldn't be at the forefront, but money is important for the advancement of that service, for the advancement of the purpose for which you're doing what you're doing. So it's only a byproduct of great service, and money is important. We cannot remove it. We cannot say, oh, we just want to serve people. So part of really understanding your market is making sure that these people can pay for it. That they don't just have the money to pay you for it, that they actually have the problem that you're trying to solve. So they have the interest and they have the income to make the purchase. We're going to go deeper into that, right? This is why defining and building your market is very important. And it does require some great research, right? And we will dive into that. Now, like I said in the beginning, one of the things we want to do is to make sure that we actually differentiate what marketing is from sales, because many times people think they are the same thing, but they're totally different, right? Many people confuse the act of marketing with the act of selling, because both involve the act of interesting customers so that they purchase your product. Selling occurs when the customer purchases the product or the service. Marketing, however, is the art of grabbing the potential customer's attention, which will hopefully lead to a purchase. So with marketing, you're grabbing their attention, and with selling, you are getting them to buy. So they're two different things, okay? Selling occurs when they just buy it. Marketing is the art of actually grabbing their attention in the first place. Okay, now the goal of marketing is to leave an impression on the customers. And you make your brand more recognizable, you make your brand more memorable to them. And if you have taken the brand course, The Art of You, which I think you should have seen before getting to this course, you'll understand what I'm talking about. To make your brand memorable, to make it consistent so that they recognize you, right? The key to marketing is providing knowledge about your company, your product, your service, your brand. And your brand is what sets you apart from the competition. Again, we've talked about this. The more customers know about your brand, the more desirable the end sale becomes to the customer. And building the brand and the brand awareness are the key points of marketing that can set it apart. So you set your brand apart by marketing your brand so that your service can sell itself without you always chasing people down valleys and mountains, right? The more the customers know about your brand, and this is the reason for marketing, is the more they get to know about your brand, the more desirable the end sale is to the customer. Building the brand and the brand awareness are the key points of marketing that can set it apart from selling. All right. So when we talk about branding, three things happen. You connect with customers. So you reach customers on a personal level with different marketing methods. Second thing is you anticipate their needs. So this is where the research part comes in. First of all, you want to serve people that you understand their pain points, whose pain points you understand. So you've been there, or you know someone who's been there. And so you can actually identify the needs that are very prevalent in that market or with that individual. Okay, so you have to anticipate their needs, and that's where research comes in. So even if you have prior knowledge of what you're trying to solve, it's good to still get to talk to potential people that you could serve in the marketplace to really understand even deeper pain points that they might have that you probably haven't caught yet. Okay? And then the third thing you want to do when you, I mean, what third thing that you do when you brand is that you have to be consistent with how you show up. And again, I explained this in the branding course that it doesn't mean that you have to just be one thing, because there's nobody that's just one thing. Everybody is multifaceted. So you just it doesn't mean that you wear the same hair, you have to look the same, you have to wear the same colors and all of that. If that's what you want to do and it works for you, great, but that's not what branding is. Branding is about consistency in your message. And this message can have different pillars. We talked about this, and I don't want to keep going over it because it's all there in the branding course. So please catch that course, okay? And sometimes the marketing process can take multiple touch points over a period of time, which is why marketing is not for the impatient. It's something you have to do daily. And again, like I said, there are so many moving parts to it, but the rewards are endless if you do it and you do it right. All right. So we'll talk about understanding customers' needs. And since marketing is based on what will bring the customer to your service or what will bring the customer to you, it is only natural to consider the customer's needs and wants. And we've talked about this. Remember, your customers are your target audience, and you must address their needs and desires directly. A service cannot market a new brand, or you cannot market a new brand of men's socks to a target of new mothers. So really honing in on the people that really need the solution that you have. Okay? So there are a few points to consider. When you're thinking about your target market, first consider what the customer wants. Consider what the customer needs. Consider something that is of benefit, something that will benefit them. Consider what makes the customer want to buy from you. Consider those 4 things. I'm going to say them again. What the customer wants, what the customer needs, what is something that will benefit the customer, and what makes the customer want to buy from you. Because understanding your target market is going to take a little bit of time. For me, I knew who my target market was, but I always had to refine my offering based on how I was seeing pain points transcend. And we will talk about that. So basically, you must consume all information that you can about your customer base. And there's some research that's available in the form of government statistics, statistics by big consulting firms. You must find information from the customers directly as well. Like I said in the beginning, direct sources include, doing surveys. I did surveys. You could do focus groups. You could do interviews. I did surveys. I did interviews. Okay? Whatever works for you. So when you're defining your product and service, before you can begin to market your company's product or service, you must define what it is and what it can do for the public. Your service, your product is what you offer to the public, but you cannot market your product to someone if you cannot first identify your product yourself. So start with a definition of the product or the service and talk about what it entails. Outline the specific characteristics along with the pros and the cons along with the pros and the cons of having it. And I'll talk deeper about the pros and cons, because one thing that I hate so much is to not be honest upfront about your service or your product. And I've seen marketing. I'm a marketer. I've been in marketing over the last, communications and marketing over the last 13 years. And what I've seen is there are just so many gimmicky, dishonest tactics that marketers are constantly using that just do my head in. They do my head in. And even as a marketer, they piss me off. So I'm just like, I don't want to imagine what the end customer is feeling looking at all these useless tactics. And everybody's doing the same thing. I believe in honest marketing. And I'll tell you why it works. It works because when you can tell the client that I see you because I've been where you are, and I understand your pain points, and I understand how the advantages of this service can bring you to the outcome that you're looking for. But then there are certain other things to the service that might not really serve you. However, we can customize the service to your exact needs, so you do not have to bother about the part that doesn't serve you. When you're upfront like that, now I realize, and I said this in our story building workshop, I said the biggest mistake that a business owner or a marketer can make is to think that your customers or your clients are not intelligent, or to think they're not smart. These people are so smart they can smell BS from a mile away. They can sense when you're not authentic. They can sense when you're telling them lies. And guess what? Their pains continue to morph into other pains. Their desires continue to morph into other desires. So you cannot ever think that you've completely figured out your client. That will be the undoing of your service and the undoing of your product. So you want to stay in constant conversation, and you want to be honest with them and let them know how you're intentionally serving them by customizing services to their needs. And letting them know, yeah, this side is there. It might not necessarily serve you, but I could take it out to focus on really giving you what you need and what you deserve, to take you to that outcome that you dream of or that you desire. Right? So outline how your product or your service can benefit the customer and what it can offer them once they buy it. What is its value to them? What would the customer be willing to do to have your product or service? Find out all of these things. These are questions that you need to ask and do research on, because they should bring the product puzzle together. They should bring that service puzzle together. And they should help you as a business owner or as a marketer achieve a clear picture of what is being offered to the public. Because that's also another way that you get to know what your competitors are doing, right? So some tips to remember is to know all aspects of your product or service. Know what it offers to the customer, to the client, or to the prospect. Define its qualities and its benefits, and determine who the target audience for those benefits would be. I will say it again, and this is just wrapping up. Remember to know all aspects and all aspects of your product or your service. You have to know what it offers the consumer or the customer or the client. You have to be able to define its qualities and its benefits. And then you have to now determine, after all of these three have been done, who are the people who need these benefits and who fit this profile, who need what my service is offering, right? Okay, so we're going to go deeper. I'm going to see you in the next class.